Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to do another one and done. A kind of new series that I've been doing. It's because it's fall, it's pilot season, so all the new shows are coming out. We got a bunch of returning shows. I won't be reviewing those, but this is what I'm calling one and done, where that doesn't mean that I hate it. It means that there's so much to watch. There's so many things to potentially review that I just can't get to everything. It's just impossible. Unless I had no life at all, which I kind of don't already, but I would have like literally zero if I just reviewed everything. And so we're gonna take a look at shows, first episodes of the pilot season, and tell you whether or not they're worth spending your time on. We've done Stumptown, we did Unbelievable, and we did The Island, which don't watch. We also kind of did one for Another Life. I wasn't calling it one and done at the time, but that's, the new kind of MO, and that's what we're going to call this series from now on. So tonight we're talking about Fox's Prodigal Son. Another show like Stumptown that had me with the cast, and I thought it was an interesting premise. But here's the thing, it's been done before. But does that mean it's bad? Not necessarily, and again, this show definitely has an audience. There will be people that fucking love this show. It stars Tom Paine, who played Jesus on The Walking Dead, so, I like him. I like him a lot. I want to see what else he can do besides be on a show that was circling the drain. And then we got Michael Sheen, who's absolutely an incredible actor. I love Michael Sheen. He was great on Masters of Sex, and all his movies. I didn't see him in Twilight because I didn't watch Twilight, but most of the time I like him. I also really liked him in Good Omens. He was really good on that. But so in this, it's basically just like The Island is a bad Lost clone. This is an okay Hannibal clone, a Silence of the Lambs-y clone, a profiler, show that's mixing those elements up, where Tom Paine plays the son of Michael Sheen's killer, who's like a doctor. And I can just see the room, or like however they approach these two actors with this role. It's like they tell Michael Sheen, hey, guess what? You can play the modern day Hannibal Lecter. We're gonna make you, instead of Clarice Starling, we're gonna have it be your son, and you guys are gonna have this back and forth where you help solve crimes from your insane asylum, your psychiatric facility, prison. Meanwhile, I'm sure they told, who doesn't want to play something that like Anthony Hopkins was great at, or for television, Mads Mikkelsen, who kills it as Hannibal Lecter. So in the vein, they can find another great actor to play another kind of the same thing, and I guess that's probably appealing for an actor to step into a role similar to something like that. And like I said, since I'm not reviewing past the first episode, it just feels like a Silence of the Lambs clone. And now on the Tom Paine side, I'm sure that they went to him and said, hey, how would you like to be, the new Clarice Starling? Or the guy from Red Dragon, and Hannibal, the character from those, I want to say it's Will, that was played brilliantly on Hannibal. And so again, you get another actor who's like, yeah, I would love to like tackle that meaty role of playing the tortured person who has to work with a serial killer that just happens to be his dad. And so there's a lot to play with there. It's just been done before. And unlike Silence of the Lambs, which is a classic, and Hannibal, which has, I happen to like Hannibal. Some people don't. I didn't like the book very much. And then you got Red Dragon, which I think, despite it being, what is that, Brett Ratner? I actually kind of like that movie. I like Ray Fiennes in it. I like the actors in that movie. I mean, it's a recreation of Manhunter, from the 80s. And then you got Hannibal, the show, which is amazing. It is an amazing. It's art. Hannibal is serial killer art show. It's fantastic. The visuals in that are mind blowing, and then you get the acting, and it's fantastic. And so Prodigal Son, unfortunately, has a lot to live up to because those things are so much better than this. Now, that's not to say that the acting, again, you get good actors, you can get good performances even out of something that's kind of mediocre and been done before. So Tom Payne's character is fine. So is Michael Sheen's character. He's a little too smiley, and it kind of creeps me out. Maybe that's what they're going for, but it just doesn't. I don't know. There's just something wrong, and not it's just not unsettling. It's just kind of like a weird choice. The cops are pretty. Like Lou Diamond Phillips is a good actor, okay, but he's so far he's just kind of the stock guy who believes in Tom Payne's character, and the other two cops they're almost supposed to be like comic relief. See, but Hannibal did the same kind of thing where they had the cops were kind of comic relief, but the humor was written well, and it just was performed better. And in this, the humor that these cops kind of have, mixing with the very serious tone of the show, falls really flat for me. It misses on like every mark because it's just kind of that whole like, this kid's gonna be problems with me. I got some, I tell you what, And so in that respect, there's a problem with tones. Definitely in this show because there's some really dark stuff happening in here, but then they throw in this humor at the wrong time, or it's got the wrong kind of delivery, or it's just the wrong lines that just people don't say things like that in situations. And that's another thing is there's a lot of things that just are really cheesy and don't fit this. The writing of this show shouldn't be so cheesy and cliche. If you want to be at least as good as Hannibal, you have to understand your tones and when to change them, and if you want to be funny, when to do that. And if you're going to do something that hits people kind of sideways and takes them out of it, it has to be in a positive and not a negative, in my opinion. And every time they did something like that, they took me out of it. It just took me out of it. It didn't make me go, oh, that's a new way of looking at it. I also like that, and spoilers for this episode, that the villain in this is played by the guy who's from Fringe, who's now on a much better serial killer show called Mindhunter on Netflix, who plays the new boss on that show. And I just thought, man, that's really hitting the mark. Look, because these are going to be kind of quick, because I'm not telling you like all the characters' names and everything, because I'm just not that invested. There's the mom. He's got his mom character who they have her playing at first the goofy kind of pill-popping mom who was looking out for her son who's been through like this trauma the same as her son has. But they have her written as like, I have pills, when it should be more like she's got problems with pills and she's now trying to get her son to take them, and not do that. If it was done in a less humorous way, I could definitely get behind it. But they don't, then so they kind of start her off as silly, and then later on when she finds out that her son's involved in a case that involves her husband and his father, then she takes the serious turn and then they have her, the cliched, don't get involved with him, very serious, he's gonna get cancer. Then there's lines like out of an action movie where after they get away from an explosion, where they had to cut off the hand of someone, he's running to the ambulance saying, can't talk. It's something along the lines of, I can't talk, I gotta give them a hand. Because he's got a hand in the container. You're either all, like, this kind of show either has to be, like, pretty much one thing or another. It can't be the kind, the very serious, Uh, sometimes, like out of nowhere, cliched, funny, you know, I'm trying to find the word, like, one second. I gotta think of the word I was looking for was puns. Puns like they were using in that scene. But just to cut this short, right? I don't want this to go on forever. And like I said, since I'm not reviewing any more of these, it's fine. It's just I couldn't stop thinking about how Hannibal did it better and Silence of the Lambs did it better. And it's like, I know you should give things a chance, but that's what I did. I watched the whole thing. I was never tempted to turn it off, and I will continue to watch it. But just like Stumptown, it'll be when I'm done with other things that I'd rather watch, like on a day like today, like on a Sunday where I'm not really doing anything. It's the perfect time to watch this stuff, but not live, not rushing out to see it. Even though I do think the performances are fine. But then again, I also feel like I can kind of see where all this is going. Where don't be surprised if there's a storyline where you question whether the doctor even did it. Like maybe Michael Sheen's innocent. I can definitely see that coming because there's a question about how this killer got some pages of Michael Sheen's work. So then you're going to have this whole conspiracy thing with the hospital, kind of like the doctor in Silence of the Lambs, how he was selling things to Mason Verger. It's all these things that are really similar. And so I see it going down a path where, like the son's going to get too involved. Like he ends the episode where he's like leaving and never coming back when he's fucking coming back. And so it's a shame that these good actors are in something that's a clone of something else. And I know that they're trying to go in a little bit of a different route with it being a father-son thing. And I do like Tom Payne in this and Michael Sheen. I just want to make that clear that they're fine in this. They're really, I enjoy their characters. I just can't help but think of other things that did it better. And it's on that Fox 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock, was it 9? Yeah, it's like 8 Central, 9 or whatever it is. It's in that dreaded times period where last year it was that vampire show that was on. And now I can't even remember the Mark Paul Gosselaar, Zach Morris show that didn't last more than a season that I thought was all right. I thought it was okay. But that show didn't last a season in that kind of time slot. And I don't know what kind of time slot, will hurt this show or not. Because if they really want it to succeed, they need to have it on a time when people are really watching TV. Or maybe they are on Monday nights, what do I know? But with streaming services and everything else, shows like this would probably do really well on like Netflix or as a Hulu original, but I don't know or even Amazon, where they could maybe take this show further than a network show allows as far as content. Because this is the kind of show that deserves to be unedited, for not like network TV does. I mean, network TV's trying to push the boundaries, just not far enough as you can when you go to Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and everywhere else. And so it's a shame that it's on network TV. I think if this was somewhere else, it could be a little bit more impressive and they could maybe push the boundaries a little more. But that being said, do I recommend it? Sure, just like Stumptown, like I said, it's watch it while I'm donating plasma, watch it on a Sunday. I don't need to rush out and see it like, oh God, did I miss Prodigal Son? And I don't see this show again lasting more than 2 seasons, if that. Because, again, it's just good enough to get canceled because people aren't watching it because of the subject matter. And it's also just kind of people might see it as a clone that it is and go, I don't need to see that. I'll just watch Hannibal or something else. But if you're that person who just wants their serial killer fix, people that like to watch true crime and things like that, this is up your alley. You'll like it probably, if you like SVU and shit like that. But for me, this is just kind of a occasional watch. But if you like these actors, I'm sure you'll have a good time with it. So that's it. This is the review for Prodigal Son. I've probably gone on longer than I even thought I was going to. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. We are going to be back with another one of these for a show called Perfect Harmony. starring Bradley Whitford, and that one's coming up next. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking and Reviews saying have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.